Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Concho with the weekly comic book roundup. We covered, well, good chunk of the stuff we usually cover. No X-Men books this week, sadly. But anyway, it's on to the last video for the roundup. We'll get things started with Wastelanders, Star-Lord #1. So during the Old Man Quill miniseries, Star-Lord, Peter Quill, returned to Earth, having gone to his father's homeworld of Spartax and becoming emperor, but he basically his reign was cut short by a space cult showing up and kind of fucking shit up for him. But he was called. He finally found out that things were going badly on Earth, so he, in the Old Man Logan era, came to see what was going on and save the Earth from Galactus. During this, he was constantly hallucinating the rest of the Guardians, who had in fact died when they went sideways on Spartax. So yeah, he eventually came to grips with this and tried to be the best he could be. So apparently this issue takes place before the conclusion of Old Man Quill #12. But it starts off with Peter entering Westchester County, New York. Rumors of his deeds are making the rounds, but he goes to Xavier's school with some flowers, obviously for Kitty Pryde. But he sees the remains of the mansion, and Kitty appears to him. He goes into the sub-basement, seemingly following Kitty and running into, well, all the other X-Men. Cyclops, Storm, Beast, Colossus, Nightcrawler, all as they appeared in their death. He also runs into Captain America, who seemingly kicks the crap out of him. And Nova's there to tell him how much of a loser he is as well. But he goes into the Cerebro chamber. But Kitty reveals herself to not actually be Kitty, but rather the Shadow King. The Shadow King has been stuck in Cerebro and wants out. And figures that Peter's mind is the perfect vessel for that. But Quill tells him to stick it, and blasts the Cerebro console, basically destroying everything inside. And a week later, he's back in Montana. His ship has been repaired. And he's also done some grooming when it comes to his facial hair. He's got a separate mustache which kind of forks out a bit. And chin beard, but he has the Milano redesignated the Pride. Honestly, good issue. It actually feels like it connects really well to the Old Man Quill miniseries, which was very clearly about him, dealing with grief and trauma. So. But anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Deathstroke Inc. #4. Where we left off, both Deathstroke and Black Canary had learned that Trust, the organization they're working for, is not exactly on the up and up, and in fact, the leader of Trust looks to be making moves towards being a new Libra, who, for those unaware, led the Secret Society supervillains during Final Crisis, and basically in preparation for Darkseid's invasion. But Black Canary's been discussing all this with with Oracle. Deathstroke comes after her. They duke it out. With Deathstroke explaining that Cheetah told him what was really going on. And he wanted to make sure that Canary was really her. But the two of them being an alliance decided, have a truce, work together against Trust, figure out what's going on, and then they burn the place to the ground. But Juliet's the leader of Trust has a new mission for them. Going after Dr. Destiny, who's got the Dreamstone again. Apparently he's selling personalized nightmares in Hub City. Before they can go off on their mission, however, the Legion of Doom attacks. And so Deathstroke, Black Canary, even Toyman do what they can to deal with the Legion. But it comes down to just Canary. But it turns out to have all been a trick. A personalized nightmare made by Dr. Destiny for Trust. But it turns out that Dr. Destiny was working alone. Prometheus was also helping him. At the behest of Juliet, the new Libra. And so Deathstroke and Black Canary are seemingly destroyed by Prometheus, and they end up in the Ghost Zone at the Crooked House, which is, generally speaking, Prometheus' base of operations. But Deathstroke, fairly banged up from getting Canary Scream right in the face, and he basically tells her that she wins, and seemingly dies in front of him. And that is where the issue ends. Honestly, that's not going to be the end of Slade, because, well, yeah. DC's kind of unveiled some of their plans for him for the coming year, so yeah, he's a big player in some other stuff, so yeah, he ain't dead yet. Next up, we've got Task Force Z, number 3. Where we left off, Task Force Z had gone to recruit a new member, Deadshot. However, when Deadshot was brought back with the... Deadshot had his body stolen by the... Deadshot's body had been stolen by the Cult of Cobra, and when Task Force Z injected him with the Lazarus resin, he came to him and promptly shot Red Hood in the chest. At Halperin, the Chop Shop, they're trying to save Jason, but he flatlines, so he's injected with Lazarus resin. And Deadshot comes to see him, and they talk a bit. Deadshot says that whoever's in charge of Task Force Z, well, the way they're doing things, they make Waller look like a damn saint. Which, well, yeah. So, but Jason gets out onto his own and runs into Sundowner. They go to a pizza place and have a couple slices. They talk and basically kind of going into what issues Jason has with the team. Big one being Bane. And the fact that Bane killed Alfred and Jason doesn't like the idea of Bane walking around like nothing happened. So, but they go back in, and Crispin, who's in charge of the whole operation, has a video chat with Jason. And we learn that Sundowner had been manipulated into talking with Jason, and he got a security pass to help do so they can both leave. There's on another mission at the this time the GNN tower. Lazarus Resin. It's the Cult of Cobra trying to take Lazarus Resin. Task Force Z is deployed. But it turns out that something's wrong with the resin they're taking. Only not everyone's taking it. Only more than just the ones who took it, because Mr. Bloom, it's affecting Mr. Bloom and Sundowner. Turns out Cheshire's there, and she poisoned everyone. Then she cuts Jason and poisons him as well. He goes for some pills, but some of the Lazarus Resin pills, how about she knocks them out? She gives him a swift kick to the chest, and they go flying, mostly landing on Bane, who's been poisoned with the resin, but before she's on the edge of the building, and basically you can, gravity can do the rest. I can kill you quick, or you can succumb to poison. I'd recommend A or B, because the last one's going to be slow and painful. And also it's too bad she didn't let him take his pill. Take the pills. They might have helped you. They might have helped him. But the pills weren't for him. They were for Bane. And Bane smashes the crap out of Cheshire. And he's got enough in him that he can actually talk and think. And Jason asks if he has his memories back and everything, and Bane explains in pieces, but it's getting there. And then Jason smacks him with his crowbar and asks if Bane knows why Jason's doing this. Bane knows. It's because he killed Alfred. And he kicks Bane off the GNN tower. And he explains that Bane is gone. Elsewhere in Gotham, Delia, Amelia and Delia, contacts Crispin to explain that Jason Todd is gone. Turns out Jason is there at where Crispin lives, and we learn who Crispin actually is. Harvey Dent. And that is where the issue ends. I'll be completely honest, I did not see that reveal coming. But Task Force Z's been really fun. I put that mostly on Matthew Rosenberg's writing. He's got a knack for offbeat, fun stuff. These past few years, I've become actually quite the fan of his. So yeah. But anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got DC vs. Vampires #3. Also, co-written by Matthew Rosenberg. Where we left off, Hal Jordan had been turned into a vampire, and in fact, vampires are spreading across the DC universe. But Hal's been turned into one, and he was telling Barry Allen, the Flash, about this, and basically explained that he had to kill Barry because, well, they couldn't turn Barry because Barry would drink the world dry in a matter of days, which is honestly quite possible. So the Justice League is all together. They've found Barry's body. Everyone's got their assignments. In Gotham, Ratcatcher is saved from being turned into a vampire by Batgirl, and the vampire that went after Ratcatcher decides to go after Batgirl instead, but ends up getting staked by Nightwing. Ratcatcher admonishes them for basic flirting after vampires are hunting and eating criminals all over Gotham. Underneath the Hall of Justice, Jaina of the Wonder Twins is keeping an eye on Batman's investigation. And she realizes that where Batman is, he's looking for her brother Zan. So Batman tells her what's going on. And she wants to help Batman finish his search. Back in Gotham, some vampires are chasing the Penguin when he runs into none other than Zatanna, and asks for her help. Though it turns out Zatanna is a vampire, has already been turned. Back at the beach where Barry was found, Hal Jordan meets with Wonder Woman. They talk about what's happened, and she ensnares him with the lasso, and he explains that he's a vampire. It's wonderful. He takes his energy directly from the lifeblood of others. He missed killing Barry, and he manages to convince Wonder Woman to let her turn him, or let him turn her. Back in Gotham, Black Canary finds Penguin's body, as well as Damian Wayne, and so neither one trusts that the other isn't a vampire. She takes a blood sample from him, though. And underneath the Hall of Justice, Batman finds what's left of Zan. And it's a piece of bone. Batman states that bone is hard to cut through. Even the strongest metal blade leaves particle fragments along the cut. But there aren't any there. The blade wasn't made of metal, but rather of light. At a truck stop outside of Gotham, Black Canary returns. She doesn't remember the password that her, Ollie, and Roy have set up. Ollie vouches for her, though, and she said she's got blood samples. Meanwhile, the Justice League have called a meeting about the investigation of Barry's death. When Hal Jordan and Wonder Woman show up and explain that it was Batman that killed Barry Allen. And that is where the issue ends. I just want to quickly talk about this cover, which I love it. The whole, it's just like with how with Deceased we had zombified DC characters. But come on, she ran as a zombie. Maybe Wonder Woman would pull that one off, but or not a zombie, a vampire. Wonder Woman might be able to actually pierce his skin, but after a while, Superman would be kind of useless as a vampire, because he can't be exposed to solar radiation. So, yeah, he'd be kind of pointless as a vampire for a while. But it does make for a cool cover, I'm not going to lie. Moving on to our last book of the week, we've got Human Target number 3. Where we left off, Lex Luthor had hired the Human Target to do an appearance for him, and ended up getting poisoned, and the Human Target got poisoned in the process. He's been investigating things, and the closest thing he's got to a lead pointed him towards the Justice League International. So he started talking with Ice about things, and they were close. However, Ice's ex-boyfriend Guy Gardner shows up, not too happy about all of this, and he tries to threaten Human Target. They argue, they fight. Well, more like Guy beats the shit out of him. Ice finds him, and Guy's following them in a car construct. But Human Target, he's got a workaround. They go to the opening of Booster's Bagels, so they can talk to Booster Gold. He gets confirmation that no, Booster didn't poison Lex. But apparently a lot of the ingredients they use for bagels, they travel through time for. Skeet suggests that it's highly likely they may have broken time by doing so, but yeah. Apparently, the rest of the visit has Ice and Booster reminiscing about the good old days. Guy's waiting outside and has dismantled Human Target's car, but Ice makes him put it back together. They have dinner together. He drops Robert home. Heads back to his place, but when Guy shows up, turns out that Human Target and John Stewart are buddies, and John told him a few stories about Guy Gardner. And apparently there's a contingency for if Guy or to keep Guy in line, and so Hal Jordan shows up and demands Guy's ring. And then Human Target lays Guy out, and it turns out it wasn't actually Hal Jordan, but rather Human Target's associate Luigi, wearing a Hal Jordan mask along with a voice modifier, and Booster Gold's flight ring. But Luigi asks what Human Target wants him to do with Guy's ring, and Target just says, do you really care what you do with it? Which is where the issue ends. It's been an interesting series. I am curious. I do love a good mystery, and so it'll be neat to see how this plays out. But anyway, that's to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.